Part 44. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 431. What conditions? I asked quickly. Mr. Ma's next words completely overturned my understanding of him. I don't have any wine at home. If you buy me 2 bottles of good wine, I will promise you. I thought it was some unattainable condition. I didn't expect it to be so simple. But with that statement, there was also his initial move to take my side. It is enough to see that he and my grandfather have a good relationship. I think it was because my grandfather tricked him and he was a little angry. Okay. I promise you. Mr. Ma waved his hand and said, just find a house to live in. Remember, don't go out at night unless you have something to do. If you don't listen to me and go out, you will see something you shouldn't see and experience something you shouldn't. Don't come to me for what you've been through. I nodded. Afterwards, Yu Xian and I randomly picked a room to live in. I asked, Yu Xian, why do Mr. Lu and the old fox demon lady respect Mr. Ma so much? And why do you say that only he can solve the problem of the dragon fetus? Yu Xian glanced at me and replied, apart from Mr. Ma's own strength, the main reason is the Ma family's special method of eliminating demons. Only he can solve the problem of the dragon fetus. Yu Xian thought for a while and said, the Ma family has a magic weapon specially designed to catch monsters. The 5 great immortal families are all afraid of it, so they respect Mr. Ma so much. It dawned on me that this was the case. At night, I lay in bed and couldn't sleep. The reason for my insomnia is Su Tianxian. I am a little worried about her safety. It's been such a long time, and she hasn't come here yet. Is something going to happen? The next day, the sun rose slowly, and I had not yet seen Su Tianxian. I couldn't sit still, I had to find a way to find her. Just as I was leaving the house, Mr. Ma stretched himself out of the room. He saw me in a hurry and asked, boy, what are you going to do? I'm going to find my master. Your master? Mr. Ma called me into the room and asked me what happened. I told Mr. Ma everything about what happened at the Hu family's old house last night. After hearing this, Mr. Ma curled his lips and said, I didn't expect your master to be Su Tianxian. But with her character, she is indeed capable of doing such a thing. You stay here and I will go check it out for you. I glanced at Mr. Ma with some gratitude and said, thank you. Mr. Ma waved his hand, led me into the yard, pointed at the weeds all over the yard and said, I'll give you a task. Help me remove the weeds in the yard. I looked at Mr. Ma and asked, can I not remove it? Mr. Ma narrowed his eyes, looked at me with a smile, and then said 2 words. Cannot. After that, he turned around and slammed the door. I have no choice but to weed in the yard. Until noon, I didn't see Mr. Ma come out of the room. I was a little confused, so I came to the window and looked inside the house. I saw Mr. Ma lying on the bed, sleeping soundly. Seeing this scene, I was so angry that I burst out and banged the door. I kept filming for about a minute, and Master Ma's voice came from inside the room. Who? He opened the door and looked at me impatiently. What? I glared at Mr. Ma angrily and asked, didn't you say you wanted to help me find out the whereabouts of my master? What are you doing? Mr. Ma rolled his eyes and said, I'm inquiring. Inquiring while sleeping. Just as Mr. Ma was about to speak, he saw a little bird flying towards Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma's eyes lit up when he saw the little bird, and he said, I heard about it. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 432. I saw the little bird landing on Mr. Ma's shoulder and chirping non-stop. After hearing this, Mr. Ma asked in surprise, really? The little bird nodded its little head and then chirped again. Mr. Ma couldn't help but curse. Holy shit. Is this Hu family crazy? Even Su Tianxian dares to marry. When I heard this, I was very anxious and asked, "Master Ma, what happened to my master?" Mr. Ma glanced at me and said somewhat seriously, "Your master was cursed by the Hu family. Now he has lost his mind and married Hu Yuanyi." Hearing this sentence, I froze on the spot as if I had been struck by lightning. Only Mr. Ma's words remained in my mind. "Marry Hu Yuanyi? Impossible. My master is so powerful. How could he be confused by those foxes?" I yelled at Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma took a deep look at me, then sighed and said, "Fox demons are good at charm and are very good at bewitching people's hearts, especially their love spells. Even a master like your master, you will be plotted by them inadvertently." I kept shaking my head, still refusing to believe this fact. Seeing this, Mr. Ma said, "Whether you believe it or not, your master is going to marry Hu Yuanyi tonight." I took a few deep breaths and forced myself to calm down. If her moral character really deteriorates, it will be really difficult to encounter this kind of thing. No. I have to save my master. With that said, I ran towards the outside of the compound. Mr. Ma stopped me and said, "You kid, why are you so reckless? There are all the great immortals of the Hu family here, so you can do nothing for me." But. Mr. Ma stretched out his hand and carried me back to the room by my neck. "Calm down, those guys from the Hu family are not easy to mess with. The old lady you saw last night only has 300 years of Taoism. Do you know how many people like the Hu family there are?" I shook my head, and Mr. Ma held out 5 fingers and said, "There are more than 5. In addition, there is an old monster on top of them that is nearly 1,000 years old. What do you think you, a little chicken, can do if you go there?" Effect. Mr. Ma is right, I am indeed a bit reckless now. If you want to save Su Tianxian, you must outsmart him and not force him. Mr. Ma thought for a moment and said, "Although the love spell is very troublesome, it is not without a solution. As long as the person under the spell has a firm consciousness and arouses the true feelings in his heart, it can be lifted. Tonight, you sneak into the Hu family's house first courtyard, find your master and see if you can wake him up." I nodded and asked, "Then what?" Mr. Ma pondered for a moment and replied, "As long as you can wake up your master, then any trouble can be solved. If not, we will have to find a way to kidnap your master. It seems that this is the only option at the moment. But how to sneak into the Hu family compound is a troublesome matter. If Xia 11 is by my side, then there is no need to worry." I told Master Ma about my doubts. After hearing this, Mr. Ma burst out laughing and said, "What's so difficult about this? I'll put on a new pair of skins for you, and you can just go." Later, Mr. Ma took out an animal skin from under the bed. "This is a wolf monster skin. As long as you wear it, it can change your appearance and cover up your aura. When the time comes, you will have no problem sneaking into the Hu family." I put the animal skin on my body without thinking, and my appearance immediately changed, and even my temperament became the same as that of a wolf demon. Time soon came to night. Mr. Ma Yuxian and I discussed for a while and then headed to the Hu family compound. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanba. Chapter 433. The Hu family courtyard was much livelier than the night before. Outside the courtyard, there were bright lights, lanterns, and colorful decorations, and the atmosphere was full of joy. Seeing this scene, I felt an inexplicable anger welling up in my heart. There is an endless stream of spirits coming to the Hu family compound. I blended in and walked into the Hu family compound with them. The courtyard of the Hu family is also ablaze with red lanterns, red candles, red satin. I found a remote seat and sat down. The top priority right now is to find Su Tianxian. But I have to be careful. After all the trouble last night, the Hu family will definitely be on guard. As time went by, more and more spirits came to attend the wedding. Although they looked like humans, I felt a strong evil spirit in them. At this moment, the spirits at the table next to me started whispering. I strained my ears and listened carefully. Have you heard? Hu Yuanyi found a daughter-in-law who is as beautiful as a fairy. Of course I heard about it. But the price to pay for marrying this wife is quite high. Why would you say so? The spirit lowered its voice and said, I heard that this bride is the celestial master of Longhu Mountain. Last night, she directly defeated Hu Yuanyi. Then she singled out the 5 great immortal families, and directly killed the Huang family. The great immortals of the Bai family and the Hui family were beaten to death. The spirits on the table took a breath after hearing these words. The spirit continued, second master Hu was also seriously injured. If the head of the Hu family hadn't appeared, I'm afraid she would have killed all the foxes in the Hu family's compound. Mr. Ma once told me that the Ma family has a great immortal who has been cultivating for nearly 1,000 years. I guess he is the head of the Hu family that these ghosts are referring to. Then, where is the bride now? The boudoir? Where else could it be? At this moment, a familiar figure walked in from the gate of Ma's courtyard. I took a closer look and saw that it was Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma still looked slovenly, holding Urquatu dangling in his hand. His appearance instantly made all the spirits present uneasy. Everyone kept a distance from them out of instinct. Mr. Ma came to a table, sat down, and put his legs on the table. His posture was very relaxed and comfortable. Why is he here? A spirit said. He must be here to eat and drink again. This is not the first time he has done this kind of thing. Mr. Ma shouted, Master! Let's serve wine and food. A beautiful and hot woman came to Mr. Ma. The appearance of the woman instantly made Mr. Ma's decadent eyes flash with a glimmer of light. Before the woman could speak, Mr. Ma directly took her into his arms. I am not surprised by this scene. The short time we got together has already made me realize that although Mr. Ma is slovenly, he is also idle and bohemian. I knew I couldn't sit still and wait for death, I had to find a way to find Su Tianxian. I stood up, left my seat, and walked towards the backyard of the Ma family compound. Compared to the bustling front yard, the backyard seems much cleaner. The moon hung high in the night sky, emitting cold moonlight. The entire Ma family compound seemed to be coated with a layer of silvery white. Under this silvery white, a room exuded a warm red light. There are several spirits guarding the door. Through the window, I can clearly see a beautiful figure reflected on the ground. Master. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 434. I looked at the 2 spirits guarding the door to the room. I hesitated for a moment, closed my left eye, and used 9 Eyes Heavenly Domain. The 9 Eyes Heavenly Realm unfolded, covering the room where Su Tianxian was. My expression condensed, and I disappeared instantly. When I reappeared, I was already in the room. In the room, red candles flickered, making the whole room a fiery red. Su Tianxian sat quietly by the bed, wearing a red wedding dress and a red hijab on her head. Her dark hair hung down on her shoulders, and her snow-white neck was exposed to the warm red light, looking extremely gentle. I took a step forward and opened my mouth. I was about to call Master when I realized something was wrong. No, the woman in front of me is not Su Tianxian. I have been with Su Tianxian for so long, and I have a very good understanding of her temperament. I didn't feel that kind of indifference in this woman. Kikik. The woman on the bed suddenly let out a strange smile. This is a trap. I unfolded the 9 Eyes Heaven realm and wanted to escape from here. But just as the 9 Eyes Heaven realm unfolded, beams of dazzling golden light burst out from the walls and windows of the entire room. Immediately afterwards, Dense and obscure spells emerged from the wall. I wanted to expand the Nine Eyes Heaven realm, but I found that the Nine Eyes Heaven realm could only be the size of a house. The woman on the bed slowly took off her red hijab. When I saw the woman's appearance, my pupils trembled violently. Although the woman in front of me has a human body, her face does have a fox face. White hair, pointed nose, slender eyes, not to mention how weird it is. She stood up slowly, came to me, covered her mouth and said with a sweet smile, "The second master of the Chang family had already guessed that you would come, so he asked me to ambush you here." I looked at her coldly, without saying a word, and held up the bloody thunder Jew with my hand behind my back. The human-faced fox seemed to notice my little move, and she covered her mouth and laughed. "Do you think you will end well if you offend my Hu family?" My expression condensed, and I rushed toward the human-faced fox with one swift step. I raised the bloody thunderbolt and struck directly towards the chest of the human-faced fox. Just when the bloody thunder weapon was about to touch the human-faced fox, the human-faced fox breathed out at me. Immediately afterwards, I saw a pink mist coming towards me, and then surrounded me heavily. My brain began to feel heavy, and my eyelids seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds. No matter how much I warned myself that I couldn't sleep in this situation, my heavy eyelids and tired body made me more and more tired. Finally, he rolled his eyes and fell asleep completely. I don't know how long it took, but I suddenly felt a cold feeling flowing down from the top of my head. The ice-like water jolted me awake. I shook the cold water off my face, looked around, and found that I was now in the front yard of the Hu family compound. There are monsters all around. But I was tied up by Wu Huida. I wanted to struggle, but I felt a powerful demonic energy on the hemp rope. No matter what methods I used, I couldn't break free. "Master, he's awake." Hu Yuanyi was dressed in a groom's attire and looked at me condescendingly. "Boy, you never thought you would have this day, right?" Hu Yuanyi said to me proudly. I looked at him coldly and asked, "Where is my master?" Hu Yuan laughed out loud when he saw me like this. "You'll see it soon. Also, I will not only let you see your master, I will also let you see me and your master come to the church and get married, and even enter the bridal chamber." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 435. I clenched my fists, my eyes were about to burst, and my teeth were crunching as I squeezed out a few words. "You beast, if you dare. I will make you pay the price." Hu Yuanyi laughed directly after hearing this. "Are you qualified to say these things now? Are you just a prisoner of my Hu family?" Hu Yuanyi laughed and turned around to leave, his attitude extremely arrogant. My eyes are getting colder and colder. At this moment of humiliation, I will definitely make the Hu family repay it 1,000 times. At this moment, a man came in front of me. I raised my head and saw that it was Mr. Ma. At this moment, Master Ma had a chicken drumstick in his mouth. He squatted down, took out the chicken drumstick from his mouth, then handed it to me and asked, "Do you want to eat it?" Looking at the drool-covered chicken legs in front of me, I glared at Mr. Ma fiercely. Mr. Ma chuckled, and then whispered in my ear, "I will find a way to untie the rope from your body later, and then you can find an opportunity to kidnap your master. Just leave the rest to me." Although Mr. Ma is a person who doesn't speak in tune, he is still very reliable in doing things at critical moments. I nodded to Mr. Ma. Immediately afterwards, I saw Mr. Ma secretly squeeze a magic formula with his right hand, and then a golden light emerged from his fingertips. Then, Mr. Ma stood up and flicked the golden light towards me. The golden light disappeared into the rope, and Mr. Ma's expression froze, and he whispered, "This is not right." Just when he was about to say something, Mr. Hu came to him dragging his scarred body. Mr. Hu is no longer as energetic as he was when we first met him. His whole body is covered in scars, and the left half of his face was burned. He looks very scary. Mr. Ma, the wedding ceremony will be held soon, and I hope to make you a witness. Mr. Ma turned around, laughed and said, okay. With that said, he left with Mr. Hu. After Mr. Ma left, I tried to break free from the rope, but found that it was impossible. About 5 minutes later, the courtyard suddenly became quiet, and all the spirits' eyes were focused on the main hall of the courtyard. Immediately afterwards, I saw a familiar figure walking out of a room supported by 2 beauties. It's Master. At this moment, the Master is wearing some fiery red wedding dress. Her skin is as good as snow, and she is slender. Her long hair is draped over a vest, and is held gently with a pink ribbon. She is extremely beautiful, with a stunning appearance and a peerless temperament. Do not look directly. But I found that Su Tianqian at this moment was like a puppet without any consciousness, being manipulated by those 2 beauties. Hu Yuanyi also walked out of the room. Instead of going to the main hall, he came to me. He stretched out his hand and carried me directly into the main hall. Then he threw me to the ground hard. Watch how I came to marry your master. There is a woman sitting on the 8 immortals chair in the main hall. The woman's appearance can only be described as coquettish. Her skin is as white as snow, she has a figure as hot as a devil, and her face is exquisite and rare in the world. She can captivate a man's mind with just one smile. In the woman's body, I felt an unprecedentedly powerful evil spirit. Could it be that the woman in front of me is the great immortal of the Hu family who has been practicing for nearly 1,000 years? The woman's captivating eyes glanced over my body, and with just one glance, I felt like there were ants crawling on my body. What a terrible woman! The auspicious time has come. An old lady shouted in a high voice. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 436. In the main hall, there are lanterns and festoons, and red silk and satin add the ultimate joyful color. Behind the chair of the 8 immortals is a big word happy. In addition to the charming women, Hu Yi and Hu Er were also sitting in the high hall. But I was left alone, watching all this. The old lady shouted again in a high voice, bow down to heaven and earth. Hu Yuanyi turned around, and at the same time, Su Tianqian was also supported by 2 charming women and turned around. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but tremble all over, as if there was a huge stone blocking my chest. Hu Yuanyi gave me an arrogant smile. The anger in me grew stronger. Recalling the first time Su Tianqian and I met, got to know each other, and stayed together. It makes my heart feel more and more uncomfortable. In my heart, Su Tianqian is more than just a master. She has long since become my family and is the person I respect the most. But now, she wants to marry a beast. Just when Su Tianqian and Hu Yuanyi were about to bend down to worship heaven and earth, I slowly raised my head and looked at all the spirits present with cold eyes. Mr. Ma was slightly startled, and then his brows furrowed. Boy, don't mess around. You can't break free from this rope. I looked at Mr. Ma and said, can't you break free? Even if I die here today, I will take her away. After that, I used all my strength to break free from the rope on my body. As I moved, the ropes that bound me tightened, finally passing through my skin and sinking into my flesh. A trace of blood slowly flowed along the horse rope. Seeing this, Mr. Ma exclaimed, boy! Stop it! You don't want your life. You will hang yourself like this. As he was about to step forward to stop him, Hu Yuanyi stood sideways in front of Master Ma and said with a smile, Master Ma, what do you care about him? He wants to die himself, and it's useless for us to say anything. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Mr. Ma's eyes. Hu Yuanyi was slightly startled and subconsciously took a step back. At this moment, the charming woman spoke. "Boy Ma, what do you want to do?" Mr. Ma took a deep breath, calmed down the murderous look in his eyes, and then said to the woman, "Mother, I don't want to do anything. The rope is getting tighter and tighter, and I don't know what material the rope is made of. Not only was it unable to break free, it also suppressed my strength, making it impossible for the Nine Eyes Heaven realm to be used. The severe pain in my body made me tremble, but I couldn't give up. I wanted to save Su Tianxian. The severe pain made me almost faint, and my consciousness began to blur. Could it be that we have to stop here?" At this moment, a gentle voice suddenly sounded in my mind. "What you are wearing is a spirit rope, which is the magic weapon of the Fox Fairy Queen. You cannot break free with your strength." I was slightly startled. This voice was Lu Hangxuan. "I will lend you my power, but I will still fall into a coma afterwards, but my power plus your methods can handle the current situation." As soon as Lu Hangxuan finished speaking, I felt a powerful demonic energy spreading throughout my body. The pain disappeared instantly. I slowly raised my head, and my pupils slowly changed. The pupils that were originally human pupils turned into snake pupils. After this evil spirit appeared, all the spirits present were shocked. I shouted angrily and broke free of the spirit rope. I slowly stood up and looked at all the spirits present. After seeing the changes that had taken place in me, the charming woman stood up and frowned. "Impossible. Isn't Lu Hangxuan dead?" Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 437. I don't want to have to say another word of crap to these guys. My expression condensed, and the Nine Eyes heavenly domain instantly unfolded. Because Lu Hangxuan lent her power to me, the space expanded by the Nine Eyes heaven realm this time is much larger than before. I looked at Su Tianxian and disappeared in a flash. When I reappeared, I was already beside Su Tianxian. I stretched out my hand and lifted Su Tianxian's hijab. I noticed that Su Tianxian had her eyes closed tightly and looked very painful. I saw this and called out softly, "Master! Wake up! Wake up!" Su Tianxian's beautiful eyebrows wrinkled tighter and tighter, as if she was fighting something. At this moment, the charming woman stood up and came to me. Not only her, but all the spirits present stood up and surrounded me. The charming woman was full of demonic aura. She pointed her slender fingers at me and said, "Keep her here and I can spare your life." I looked at the charming woman coldly, stretched out my hand, and pulled Su Tianxian behind me. "I'm going to take her away today. Let's see who dares to stop me. Even if the cost is my life." The face of the charming woman was covered with a layer of ice, and the murderous intent in her eyes became more and more intense. "If that's the case, then don't blame me for killing you." Suddenly, a demonic wind burst out from the charming woman. 8 snow white and huge tails spread out from behind her. The demonic aura emanating from the charming woman was like a huge mountain, weighing me down so much that I couldn't breathe. Before I could make any move, the 8 fox tails of the charming woman were drawn towards me. Wherever the tail passed, houses collapsed, and the strong wind generated by the movement of the fox tail alone was enough to knock over some spirits with shallow cultivation to the ground. I picked up the bloody ninefold thunderbolt. With the blessing of Lu Hangxuan's power, this time I directly superimposed the 9 levels of Thunder Ju to the 5th level. Bright red and blood-like thunder and lightning burst out from the palm of my hand, and then shot straight into the sky, flashing a strange blood red in the dark night sky. 8 foxtails had already arrived in front of me. I raised my right hand high, and bloody thunder and lightning split in the air. Because we are in the Nine Eyes heaven realm, I can control the movement of every lightning bolt very well. Countless bloody thunder and lightning fell from the sky like heavy rain. Wherever you pass, be on guard against being struck by thunder and lightning. The 8 beast tails of the voluptuous woman were also stopped by the bloody lightning rod, and stopped less than 1 meter in front of me. Lurugjuan's power is powerful. It makes me feel like I can do a lot of things. Seeing this, the other Hu family members also gathered around and attacked me. Seeing this, Mr. Ma stepped forward to help me resist with a magic weapon in his hand. It was at this time that Yu Xian broke in, followed by several people. When they saw me, they couldn't help but exclaimed, "Mother Chang-san." It seems that these guys are also members of the Chang family. With the help of Yu Xian and Mr. Ma, I can better deal with the charming woman in front of me. The charming woman's body was so full of demonic aura that it knocked me back a few steps. Suddenly, I felt as if my wrist was grabbed by someone. I looked to my side and saw Su Tianxian closing her eyes tightly, her pretty face full of pain. I know what Su Tianxian means. She is worried about my safety. I smiled at Su Tianxian and said, "Master, don't worry, I will take you away today. If you want to subdue these guys, you can only use that thing." I put the soul of Taishan in my hand, then with a concentrated expression, I threw it directly into the air. The soul of Taishan instantly grew in size in the sky, and its huge size directly blocked the twinkling stars and moon in the sky. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 438. The appearance of the soul of Tarzan shocked all the spirits present. The charming woman's charming face was full of seriousness. The sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling came from the soul of Mount Tai. If you look carefully, the huge Mount Tai is full of lonely souls and wild ghosts. With pale faces and vicious eyes, they ran wildly through the mountains and forests, trying to break out of the shackles of Mount Tai's soul. You know, these evil ghosts are not the simplest lonely ghosts. Mount Tai has stood tall in the world for who knows how many years. During this period, there were many ghosts at the Ghost King level who suppressed them. I grabbed Su Tianxian and used the ability of Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain to disappear instantly. When he reappeared, he was already at the top of Mount Tai's soul. I stood on the top of Mount Tai and looked down at the monsters in the Hu family compound. I slowly raised my hand and squeezed the bloody thunder weapon. Taishan's soul began to tremble violently. Seeing this scene, the charming woman asked sternly, "What do you want to do?" I gave her a cold look and replied, "What happened today? I want your Hu family to pay for it with your blood." The bloody thunderbolt in my hand shot through the air, and the thunder and lightning as thick as a bucket struck Hu Yuanyi. "Boy! How dare you!" The voluptuous woman gave a sweet shout and attacked Hu Yuanyi, and my expression condensed. A huge black arm appeared from behind Hu Yuanyi and held him firmly. Then the black arm threw Hu Yuanyi into the air. "Ah!" Hu Yuanyi shouted in horror. Seeing Hu Yuanyi being thrown into the sky, the voluptuous woman flashed towards Hu Yuanyi, hoping to stop the bloody thunder from coming. But she was still a step too late, and the bloody thunderbolt penetrated directly into Hu Yuanyi's chest, not even leaving his soul behind. The alluring woman landed steadily, looking at the stunned Hu Yuanyi with anger flashing in her eyes. She turned back sharply, the murderous intent in her eyes freezing the air. "Boy, kill my descendants in front of me. You must die today." I raised a sneer at the corner of my mouth, then raised my right hand and slowly lowered it. At the same time, the soul of Mount Tai in the Nine Eyes Heaven domain fell at an extremely fast speed. The strong wind generated by the fall of the soul of Mount Tai instantly stirred up sand and dust in the sky. In addition, the oppressive feeling brought by the soul of Mount Tai made these monsters forget to escape. Everyone's eyes were dull, looking up at the huge Mount Tai. Fortunately, I have Lu Rugjuan's help. Without her power, I might not be able to create such a big battle. Boom! The soul of Mount Tai crushed the Hu family compound to pieces in the blink of an eye. The voluptuous woman let out a sweet scream when she saw this, and her whole body emitted a dazzling white light. The white light dissipated, and a white demon fox with 8 tails appeared under the soul of Mount Tai. The 8-tailed demon fox raised its 8 tails high above its head to protect itself, and then pushed up towards the falling soul of Mount Tai. The soul of Taishan, which was descending rapidly, stopped instantly. Immediately afterwards, the 8-tailed demon fox exuded powerful demonic energy from its body injury, and the soul of Mount Tai was actually lifted up by her. Seeing this scene, I was a little surprised. This 8-tailed demon fox is really not simple. Just at this time, a hearty laugh rang in my ears. Lusu! Lusu! You are crazier than Grandpa. I looked for the voice and saw Mr. Ma looking at me with a smile. Mr. Ma held the spell in his hand and said to me, although you have Mrs. Chang San's help, it is still difficult to deal with her, so let me help you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 439. A beam of golden light burst out from Mr. Ma's hands. He slowly spread his hands, and a golden magic circle emerged from his palms. The next moment, the golden magic circle flew towards the 8-tailed demon fox. Because the 8-tailed demon fox had no way to deal with the clone of Taishan's soul, it allowed the golden magic circle to envelope it. That is to say, the moment the magic circle took effect, the demonic energy on the 8-tailed demon fox was greatly reduced. The soul of Mount Tai, which had been lifted up by the 8-tailed demon fox, began to fall slowly. Seeing this, I moved my mind and increased the pressure on Taishan's soul. The 8-tailed demon fox looked at Mr. Ma fiercely and said in a vicious tone, "Boy of the Ma family. How dare you sneak attack me?" Mr. Ma shrugged nonchalantly and replied, "I am using the magic circle in an open and above-board way, so how can I say that I am a sneak attack?" The 8-tailed demon fox was speechless. When the other fox demons of the Hu family saw that their ancestors were suffering, they revealed their true identities one by one and rushed towards Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma calmly stretched out his hand and said, "You little foxes dare to jump in front of me. I will let you know how powerful my Mr. Ma is." Mr. Ma's figure flashed and disappeared instantly, and then he got into a fight with these fox monsters. Of course, Mr. Ma is not the only one who is fighting against the Hu family, but also the Chang family immortals brought by Yu Xian. And I didn't care about the situation on the field. I just wanted to suppress this 8-tailed demon fox under the soul of Mount Tai. Using Soul of Tarzan takes a huge toll on me. However, with Lu Hangxuan's power, he can still control it. At this time, Lu Hangxuan's voice sounded in my ears. "The strength I have recovered during this period is almost going to be used up by you, so hurry up and make a quick decision. I have a bad feeling." After hearing Lu Hangxuan's words, I focused all my attention on controlling the soul of Mount Tai. The soul of Mount Tai slowly descended, and the 8-tailed demon fox was unable to exert its full strength under the influence of Ma Gong's array. I looked at Mr. Ma and Yu Xian with a concentrated expression. I released my hand and held it in the air. Mr. Ma, Yu Xian, and the great immortals of the Chang family disappeared instantly, out of the range of the soul of Mount Tai. That is, after Mr. Ma and others left, the soul of Mount Tai suddenly fell down, directly pressing the 8-tailed demon fox under the mountain. I don't know how many members of the Hu family died this time. Suddenly, the soul of Mount Tai began to tremble violently, and my complexion changed drastically. I vaguely felt that the barrier of the soul of Mount Tai that imprisoned all ghosts was loosening. The soul of Taishan can no longer be used. If you continue to use it, the ghosts will definitely break out of the barrier, and they will definitely attack you by then. Lu Hangxuan's anxious voice sounded in my ears. I can also feel that the evil spirits suppressed by the soul of Taishan are beginning to become restless and may break out of the soul of Mount Tai at any time. I quickly put away the soul of Taishan. I landed firmly and looked at the soul of Mount Tai in my hand. The originally restless ghost gradually calmed down. Seeing this scene, I breathed a long sigh of relief. I put away the soul of Mount Tai, then looked around and found that the entire Hu family compound had been razed to the ground by me. Dozens of fox corpses were scattered everywhere. But what I didn't expect was that the eight-tailed demon fox was still alive. She was only slightly injured. I looked at the eight-tailed demon fox warily, fearing that she would suddenly attack me. The eight-tailed demon fox struggled to stand up, his eyes full of resentment. "It seems, I came well." A woman's voice suddenly sounded in the darkness. Then a woman with a big belly walked into the moonlight. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 440. It's Xiaoqui. It shouldn't be said that it's the dragon. Mr. Ma came to my side and looked at Xiaoqui's bulging belly. His originally cynical expression turned extremely serious at this moment. He whispered in my ear, "Xiao Suzy, is this her you are talking about?" I nodded. Mr. Ma sighed slightly and said, "The matter is more serious than I thought. If it was a day ago, I could easily abort the fetus, but it is very difficult now." Xiaoqui took a step forward, looked at the injured eight-tailed demon fox, and said, "Thank you for your hard work." The eight-tailed demon fox regained its human form and looked at me, eyes full of anger. "He killed my people. I must kill him." Xiaoqui waved his hand to the eight-tailed demon fox and said, "He will definitely die." Xiaoqui looked at me, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised, revealing a scheming smile. "Lu Su, I have to say that you are very difficult to deal with. If I didn't use some tricks, I'm afraid you wouldn't be as embarrassed as you are now." This sentence made me instantly know what the whole thing was about. From the very beginning when we entered the Hu family courtyard, to later when Su Tianxian was entangled in a love spell, all of this was caused by Jiaolong secretly playing tricks on him. It was exactly what he did that made him not so easy to eliminate now. It was at this time that Lu Hangxuan's weak voice sounded from my ears. "I've reached my limit. I'm afraid I can't help you. The next thing is up to you." After Lu Hangxuan finished speaking, there was no movement. The demonic aura that permeated my body disappeared instantly. A feeling of powerlessness came over me. My limbs feel sore and my eyelids are filled with lead. Is this the sequelae of praying to God? I fell to one side, but Mr. Ma quickly caught me with his quick hands. When Xiaoqui saw this scene, the smile on her face became even stronger. Mr. Ma glanced at Xiaoqui, then at the weak me, and said, "Xiao Suzy, don't worry, as long as I still have breath, I will definitely be able to protect you." Mr. Ma handed me over to Yu Xian, then looked at Xiaoqui and said, "Isn't it true that you, the Loach, feel that you are very powerful?" Xiaoqui's expression froze, and it was obvious that she was hit by Mr. Ma's words. "Let me tell you, in front of your Grandpa Ma, you are just a Loach. You are not even qualified to be a fish bait." Xiaoqui looked furious and said fiercely to Mr. Ma, "You are looking for death." Xiaoqui, with a big belly, disappeared in an instant. Mr. Ma's playful expression disappeared instantly, and he took out a seal from his pocket. Then he threw it towards Xiaoqui. Mr. Ma muttered something in his mouth, then spread out his hands. The seal instantly emitted a beam of golden light, and then the words engraved under the seal appeared out of thin air and headed towards Xiaoqui. Golden words surrounded Xiaoqui, forming a golden barrier in an instant. "The evil suppressing seal, I never thought that such a treasure would be in your hands." When I heard the words Zhengzai seal, I was slightly startled. This seal is said to be Zhongkui's magical weapon. It seems that Mr. Ma's family has a really strong foundation. Just when I was surprised at the evil suppressing seal, a strong wind suddenly roared in my ears. Yu Xian looked shocked and stretched out his hand to stop him, but it was too late. I saw the eight-tailed demon fox's pale claws clawing at my chest. At this critical moment, a slender white jade hand tightly grasped the beast's hand. I looked along the jade hand and saw Su Tianxian standing beside me with an indifferent expression.